I used to barely work 4 hours a day, making no progress in my business, telling myself I was working smarter, not harder. Here are the tweaks that I made to my mindset, my diet, my habits, my environment, and my goals to help me consistently work 10 to 12 hour days while having it be addicting, helping me work towards my first 10K month and overall improving my quality of life. Now, it's many entrepreneurs' dream, I know it especially was for me, to start a business for time, location, financial freedom, right? That is the whole reason that I became an entrepreneur. I was tired of working 60, 70, 80 hours in the corporate world to have no additional return for the time spent. I would have a salary, I'd be capped, right? I wanted an exponential return for the work that I was putting in. And that's what drew me to entrepreneurship in the first place. Now, like I said, that is an absolute great goal to reach. And the truth is, what I learned the hard way is that any entrepreneur can't expect to quit a full-time job, work half the amount of time, and expect to get paid 10 times more. It just doesn't happen starting out. We're talking 2 years, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, maybe, right? You're going to start to see some of those benefits, but you can't expect to just say, I quit, pay me money, right? You're going to have to put in most likely more work than full-time employees, especially when starting out. If everybody could just quit and leave their job and become a successful entrepreneur, we'd all be millionaires by this point, right? You need to build that positive momentum. So the ones that are actually going to succeed are the ones that are going to put in the work, put in the time that it takes in the beginning. And I'm actually going to share with you today a lot of the ways that you can actually make that process very fun and enjoyable. But as embarrassing as it is to say, this is how I spent the first 9 months of my business. I wanted the recurring revenue. I didn't want the recurring work. I was expecting to get 10x the pay for half the amount of time put in. I spent my excess time playing video games, watching meaningless YouTube videos, eating junk food, ultimately wasting time procrastinating. And while it might have felt great in those moments, it was short-lived. And my constant reality was actually more like suppressed depression. I wasn't building something that I was proud of. I was generating just enough revenue to keep the lights on, maybe a couple hundred more, but no more than that. I was in constant scarcity, constant survival. And really, it came down to me looking at, those past 6 months here recently in November of last year and looking at those past 6-9 months. And I realized that I was not creating the life that I wanted, right? I wanted to become an amazing entrepreneur, but so much time had went by and I was still struggling, still stuck in the same patterns and loops that I was before I became an entrepreneur. And I seriously had to consider that something had to change. I literally had to do something. Nobody else was going to come and make that change for me. I had to take full responsibility and I had to take back control of creating my own success. And so, like I said, in November of 2023, I decided that I was no longer going to waste the precious time that I've been given. And I would focus on improving habits, my goals, my mindset, my diet, and my environment. So very exciting. Let me go ahead and walk you through the changes that I made to these 5 areas to not only make it easier for me to get in the right habits, do the right things, but also making it enjoyable. I'm telling y'all, going through this has made it addicting for me to work 10, 12-hour days very easily. So let me go ahead and break down my process for you, what I've been doing, and I really think you're going to enjoy this process. So the first piece I'm going to talk about is the habits. What it looked like before is I would wake up and every single day would be scattered. Every single day I'd be reacting to clients, reacting to messaging I needed to do, doing my messaging in the last hour of the day, putting my post off to the next day, missing deadlines. I was reactionary. I didn't have the actual structure that I needed to succeed. So it all starts with habits, right? And it starts with a morning routine. Now, I don't want you to sit here and think I'm about to tell you a morning routine that's going to cost you an hour of your day with a lot of procrastination and not even doing your work. I used to be there as well. I would wake up, I'd sit there and visualize for 15 minutes. Half the time I'd fall back asleep. I'd get up, I'd brush my teeth, I'd shower, I'd go outside, I'd journal for 10 minutes. I'd come back to my chair around, you think I'd about to be ready to work. Well, I do another 30-minute meditation. Half the time would also fall back asleep. So I have a very, very easy to follow dialed routine. That's very easy for me to repeat, right? So the first piece is waking up at 5 a.m., waking up at the same time, even when it sucks, even when you don't want to, because that's actually the most impactful time. You need to be consistently waking up at that 5 a.m. mark. Whatever number that is for you, the better. But I find that actually waking up early in the morning makes you feel like a killer. It makes you feel really confident in myself, like I'm doing something that not a lot of other people are willing to do. So whatever that time is for you, try to make it earlier in the morning, right? I'll talk about why here in a little bit. But 5 a.m., wake up, go ahead, brush my teeth, shower. What I'll then do is I'll do about a 10-minute meditation right before I start working. And then I actually won't have coffee first thing. I'll have coffee about 90 minutes after waking up. There's been studies done around it. Again, I'm not necessarily a scientist, but I believe our adrenal processes aren't actually awake for the first 90 minutes of the day. So you're drinking coffee and it's actually really doing nothing for you. So I'll usually drink it about an hour and a half in, maybe 2 hours in to my day. And it actually really helps boost my energy and it's way more effective during that time period. So wake up, brush teeth, shower. As of recently, I've been doing some cold plunges in the morning and filming some content then. But then I'll go ahead, sit down at my desk, meditate, and then drink coffee a little bit later. So that's the core of my morning routine, right? So making sure I can get into habits around that is incredibly important, okay? And then every single day, I'll at least do one piece of content. I aim to do 50 pieces of outreach. Hiring team members in the process of doing that is actually going to be really helpful to offloading some of that, but still actually getting in there and doing some outreach. So those are the two non-negotiables. They happen every single day. And then usually I'm going to have one more task to work towards a larger goal. So whether it be working on my school community, building out a course in there, creating a lot of fulfillment and doing client work and in batches in that case, or just kind of planning out a script for videos like this, actually filming videos like this, right? Something that's a bigger, more project-based task that I can work on, especially in those early hours in the morning, which I'll get to here in a little bit. Then throughout the middle of the day, so I usually have a block from 5 to 9 for deep work, but I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But basically, I would go ahead and throughout the middle of the day, take meetings, handle miscellaneous tasks. I would, again, do all my higher impact tasks in the morning. And then this is still something I struggle with, but really trying to disconnect at 5 p.m. so I can spend time with my wife, have a great meal with her, cook food, spend time to enjoy quality time. And as much as it sucks, there have been times where I have sacrificed some of that time, which it's not something I'm proud of, right? But it's something I'm also working on. But really do my best to disconnect at 5 p.m. And then I'm going to be going to bed at 8 p.m. so I can wake up at 5 the next morning. And then usually between that 5 and 8 p.m. period, I've recently been playing paddle, which has been great for cardio. I've actually taken kind of a step back from weightlifting. I could talk about that in future videos, definitely. But I used to be a pretty avid bodybuilder, but after looking into some more of the health benefits and maybe some of the health consequences behind it, I'm really focusing more on cardio as I move forward. So I've been playing some paddle, spelled P-A-D-E-L. Definitely recommend y'all check it out. Been trying to play that at least 2 or 3 times a week. It's a little bit tricky, having to actually get a match together with 4 people. But when I get that going, it's a fantastic way to actually get cardio in, right? So I do the same thing every day. I do the same thing every day. And you might be thinking, that sounds really boring. Like that sounds dreadful. Like, why would I want to do the same thing every day? I want variety. I want excitement. I'm telling you, I used to be the same as you. I used to want that variety, but I'm telling you, I have actually never really had this much fun before doing the same thing every day. It sounds kind of surprising, but it's true because every single day my routine is dialed. I get to improve something here, improve something there. My output gets improved for the day. My output gets increased, right? I hit a new goal. I hit a new milestone. I'm actually making progress by doing the same thing every day instead of trying to have variety, do this there, react to this there. But I'm having fun, right? And I'm getting to see my friends, every other day, right? Of course, that stuff's important to do. But when I do the same thing every day, that's actually when I'm making the most progress. So those are habits. Now we're going to move on to the next topic, which is mindset. incredibly important piece here. So the absolute first piece, which I had learned from a transformational coaching program that I had taken while I was still in corporate, which actually kind of started to move me towards entrepreneurship, was it's all about identity. I had to view myself, and still do have to view myself, as somebody who is already successful, somebody who already has the life they want, somebody who is already making the impact they want to have, somebody who is already having the emotions and the love and the positive experiences in their life. I had to view myself as already having that. And when I did that, it started to become natural, and the world around me began to reflect that. And that is such a core piece, such a huge piece when it comes to mindset, is having the identity of the person who has the life that you want. And this is definitely something, especially when I first got started, that felt very unnatural to me. I felt there was definitely maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome. There was definitely, it just didn't feel like me, right? Like I was someone who would watch YouTube and play video games and hang out with their friends all the time. And I felt like I was really sacrificing a lot of that and I was sacrificing, right? It felt very unnatural. It didn't feel great. And there were times where I started to slip back into that old identity. But the old identity didn't have the life I want. The old identity was struggling to pay the bills, was barely bringing in an income. Heck, was even working corporate in the past, eating junk food, watching YouTube videos. I had to cement this new identity, and I started to give myself undeniable proof that I was who I said I was. And this comes back to the habits piece, waking up at 5 a.m. every morning. There are not a lot of people who can really claim that title, right? That personally makes me feel like a killer, makes me feel really good about myself. It is proof that helps me validate the identity that I currently have of being successful, right? Even if my outside world doesn't fully reflect it yet. But doing these things to reinforce that identity are key. So, waking up, doing the outreach, creating the content, getting a lot of my highest impact work done before, most people even wake up throughout their day. That gave me a huge amount of confidence in what I was doing and how I was showing up. So what started in my mind first with the identity then became discipline, actually doing the things and executing on the things to create the successful version of myself, which then became habit, going back to what we talked about previously, right? It all had to start with the mindset. Also, a huge piece to really validating this identity, but really adding to it, was being in an abundance mindset versus scarcity. Nothing good would come out of being in scarcity. I would show up desperate on calls. I would be scared and fearful to take risks that I know could actually benefit me. But being in the abundance mindset, really attracting the right clients, having that great positive energy, knowing that there's enough out there for all of us, was extremely reinforcing to this new identity. And I'll tell y'all, there were times where, I had, about $10 in my account. Like I have a picture here. Like we're talking, that's $100 in checking. My savings is -$5, and that's not a positive balance. That's a credit card, right? And there are still times, even when the entrepreneurial journey can be up and down. But the biggest thing for an entrepreneur is that we have to understand that we cannot base our emotions and our feelings off of our circumstances. It can be incredibly easy to get really scared and fearful when our accounts start to dip below a certain amount. Maybe we even go negative. I've been negative before, right? Many times, in fact. And the biggest thing is maintaining that positive, abundant mindset. Know that what you're doing, you're working 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you have the big goals. Of course, you've got to put food on the table and you've got to do what it takes, but don't let it pull you out of that identity, that amazing mindset. I've killed momentum countless times by letting myself get into fear, to doubt, to scarcity. Cannot let it creep in. As easy as it feels to let it creep in and start to become a victim, start to feel helpless, you cannot let that take control of who you are and what you're working towards. So it's easier said than done. I'll say that much, right? But I really want you to try and focus. If you're somebody who's in those moments where things are getting tough, things are getting tight, just continue to have that positive outlook, glass half full. That will take you so far. And just do not believe that you cannot fail. Like, of course you can fail and make failures, but you will never give up. That is the biggest piece. Okay. So I'm honing in on that a little bit because that was a big piece for me that stopped my momentum a lot. Stop, started. can't let it influence you. As hard and as real as it feels, staying positive, having that mindset, having that identity is key to really building that life around you that you're looking to have. And, during this period with mindset, like when I started to reinforce a lot of these things, I actually really started to become passionate about the work I was doing. I felt like I was really making an impact. I had the killer confident identity. It was very fun, the work I was doing, right? When I actually saw the improvement of things getting better from not only doing the habits above, but like having the right mindset, I actually started to grow and I wasn't just, kind of bottlenecking or declining. So it actually made it so much more enjoyable when I started to see the proof that I was who I said that I was. Okay. Now, third piece, goals. Goals are really big. So I set my eyes on 3 main goals, and I can talk about this here in later videos, but essentially you can only really focus on a handful of things in your life at one time if you actually want to make progress on them. Those 3 main goals for me were success in business, success in a relationship with my wife and close friends, and then fitness, right? Health is really important to me right now as well. Burnout is real, but work-life balance is also a sweetened lie. And if I had all these other things thrown in here, like a second business here, playing video games here, watching YouTube here, just going to do fun things with friends, going out and getting drinks, going out and partying, I would start to be getting pulled in too many different directions to where I actually wouldn't be making progress on anything. Again, I'll talk about this in later videos because I think it's really important. But trust me in knowing that you really need to set your eyes on achieving 1, 2, 3 main goals. And there's going to be times where you're going to be pushing towards one of those goals really rapidly. The other 2 kind of go into maintenance mode. Like I said, even though it was unfortunate, maybe missing some time with my wife at the end of the day, so I could really, really focus in on business. It's sacrifices I don't want to make, but there's sacrifices sometimes that have to happen. And especially if I had all these other things thrown in there, who knows if I would have gotten any time with my wife if I didn't actually prioritize it, right? As one of my top 3 biggest goals. So you have to narrow things down, really choose the top 3 things that are important to you so you can really start working on them and making progress on them. Okay. So that's goals at a high level. Now let's start talking more specific. So I set these clear goals and then I actually work backwards in terms of what does it take for me to actually achieve those goals. The goals for me right now, 30K months, 30K LinkedIn followers. And I want to be down around, at the time of writing the script, 20 pounds after doing some cold plunges. Been losing weight pretty fast, actually. So now down about 15 pounds. And really something that's beneficial here, I had to think to myself, if I could only work 2 hours a day, what would I do to achieve those larger goals? So let's break it down. I have to do outreach. I have to create content. I have to spend time with my wife. I'd have to exercise and eat right. So then, since I'm saying I would do all that within 2 hours each day, I would 5 to 6 times the actual output to where I'm working 10 to 12 hour days and focusing on just repeating those tasks, staying true to those tasks, doing those tasks. Okay. So goals don't have to be hard. I don't want you, it can be easy to go down there and focus on writing all this out. It's helpful to break it down that way, but just ask yourself the question to start. If I want to reach these top 3 big goals, what are the things I actually need to do? If I only had 2 hours a day, what do I need to do to actually reach those goals? And then just 5 to 6x the actual output. And you'll be surprised how fast you'll be moving towards those goals. The 4th piece is going to be environment. Every single time you get distracted, it takes on average, 23 minutes and 15 seconds for you to get back on track. Think about that. Your phone chimes, you get a notification, you look down at it. Potentially an average of 23 minutes gone. Oh, you're doing your work hard and a YouTube tab pops up, or you decide, I want to check out this YouTube video real quick. I'd say longer than that 23 minutes on average. You're creating content on LinkedIn. You see a post pop up, you see a message pop up, and it's not during the time period you need to be messaging or getting distracted. You go look at it, 23 minutes, 15 seconds gone. It is critical to reach your goals to cut out everything else, all the little tiny distractions in your environment. Get rid of them. They're going to pull you away from what you actually need to be doing every single day to reach that success. And I'm going to share you some of the tactics you can actually use, some tools, some softwares to help you really stay focused and eliminate those distractions. Absolute biggest thing, hands down, turning off all the notifications on my phone, except for, potentially client Slack messages and then, text from my wife, and then putting my phone actually on do not disturb during periods of intense focused work. This, I'm not even kidding you, has given me 2 hours back on average, 2 hours back every single day. My screen time, kind of later near the end of 2023 was about 4 hours on average. In fact, let me just show you this right now. So before I really made this change, this is around December. Look at that. Over 4 hours a day spent on my phone. Okay. That's around December of last year. So even though I had dialed most things in by November, I was still during that period, still had my notifications on, had was getting distracted by my phone relatively often. And then here you go. A week before that, right? Wow. 3 hours, 41 minutes. Yikes. Now, as soon as I turned it off around the New Year's, look at that. Literally cut in half. And I'll show y'all here recently. Let me get this pulled up. This is what it's been now. Around the same. I have literally gotten over 2 hours back on average every single day by doing this. This is 2 hours to work on my business, push things forward, 2 hours to spend with my wife, 2 hours to go work out, 2 hours to spend time with your friends if you really want to, right? That time was gone. I can guarantee you that most of that was not on anything productive. It was entertainment. It was wasting time. It was getting distracted. Okay, so I'm serious. These software developers, people who are making these apps, who are making these social media sites, who are making these notifications, who are making the phones, they want you spending more time on the phones. They want you spending more time in their apps. That's how they make money. They get your attention. They put ads through. They want to make it as addicting as possible. And by doing so, by putting things on Do Not Disturb, by turning off notifications, you are taking your time back. I'm very passionate about this because I was in the trap of losing hours every single day, every single week off my life, hours, days off my life that have just been gone through wasting time. So put your phone, biggest thing for environment, Do Not Disturb, turn off all notifications. You can go into each one of your apps and just turn off the notifications for all the ones that aren't important, which I can guarantee you are going to be 95% plus of those apps. Okay. So that is the absolute biggest piece there. Now, there's definitely more tips when it comes to actually enhancing your environment. So I installed 2 main Google Chrome extensions. I'm going to put them down in the description below. The first one is Newsfeed Eradicator. This is huge because I actually have to be on YouTube to post videos like this. I have to be on LinkedIn to create content, to reply to messages, but it can be easy to get distracted by the actual feed. What Newsfeed Eradicator will do is it'll actually block out your feed and just remove it. So there's like no videos that are going to show up. There's going to be a nice little quote there that's something motivational, but you can still access your videos, your channel. You can see certain subscriptions if you want to watch more educational long-form content in the future for business, whatever it may be. But it's going to remove the recommended section. Same for LinkedIn, same for Twitter, same for Reddit, same for Instagram. Wherever you're getting distracted on, it's going to pull away that feed so you can only access the things you need to access to work on your business. Now, the second one is called Block Site. It's a free version. It can help you block 3 websites permanently. It's like sites like Reddit for me or Twitter. Like I never use them productively, at least. I might have gone on in the past and scrolled or whatever that may be, but you can block those entirely, right? So you can block a handful of websites absolutely entirely with Block Site. And then the final piece, which is nice to help me stay focused when I'm actually getting into deep work, working on something for a long time, is called Brain FM. It plays a really nice kind of lo-fi. I personally like the lo-fi, but you can choose like hip hop or other more chill things. And it has, I believe, binaural beats in the background to like really help you stay focused. It also pulls up a clock to where you can track how long you've actually been working on something. And you can see how long you're working on something without getting distracted as well, right? So not sponsored by any of these 3 pieces. They've just personally been a big help to me. I want to give you access to things that have helped me reduce a lot of the distractions in my life. And so I'll go ahead and leave links to those in the description below this video, but definitely recommend checking those out and installing them. They're going to be a huge help in getting you your time back. And then finally, cleaning my office here, making it presentable, nice, having a whiteboard over here, organizing my closet room, organizing my shoes, organizing our pantry, keeping things clean so that if I need to go access something, I know exactly where it is and I'm not wasting time potentially getting distracted searching for it. Having a clean environment, clean home, very, very important. Highly recommend. It sounds very simple. It sounds like a no-brainer, but it's oftentimes, especially with your desk, like leaving things dirty in places they don't need to be, can really actually hurt you in staying focused. So having your environment dialed is crucial. And now we're going to get on to the very last piece, diet. This one has been a sleeper. Changing my diet and really improving it and dial it in and eating those natural foods has been more of a game changer than I think I can ever imagine, right? You hear the saying, you are what you eat, but are you really taking that into consideration? You are what you eat. If you're eating junk food, if you're eating hamburgers, greasy, seed oils and processed food and stuff that's is not good for you, it may taste good, it may make you feel good in the moment, but it's actually pulling you away from your goals in terms of health, and also it affects your mind, it affects your body, right? Diet is incredibly, incredibly important to have dialed. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to hop on some regimen, hop on some extreme diet, go keto, go carnivore. In fact, a lot of those diets, after doing a lot of research, my wife and I, they all seem to have their flaws, right? So the biggest thing for you, what I want you to do, I want you to just make one cleaner choice every single day. It can be very difficult to fully kind of transform your entire diet, right? But I want you to make one cleaner choice to eat every single day. You notice over time, when you continue to do that, you're going to have a new baseline of what is actually healthy, right? If you've made a cleaner choice for 1 month in a row, well, your new baseline diet is a lot healthier than it looked 1 month ago. And a super, super big thing is really try to stay away from processed foods, staying with raw, natural, organic ingredients. Unfortunately, when it comes to vegetables, a lot of what is called organic, the kind of actual guidelines for what is organic seem to be getting pushed back and back every single day. So something that is called organic now might only be 50 or 70% as organic as it actually was in the past. But when it comes to eating beef, I love eating beef. I think it's great for mental health, for just bodily function. Definitely research it. Try to get grass-fed and finished beef. My wife and I have actually found a farmer in our area, so we're getting raw milk, which is delicious. It actually has a chemical structure in a way that's similar to ionized water, I believe, which basically actually hydrates our cells. Absolutely delicious. We've been getting raw cheese as well. We've been getting some sausages and some of the meat made from some of the cows that have been slaughtered, that are actually being sold by the farmer. So try to find a local plug, as we call it, a local farmer, get access to this food. Honestly, it may be a little bit pricier than what you're paying in the grocery store. It's worth it, right? Diet is super important. Having it dialed removes brain fog. I'm healthier. I feel more confident. My self-esteem is higher. I'm able to, that brain fog is gone. I can think more clearly. I can show up better in business. I can show up better on sales calls. I have more natural charisma. I'm able to more effectively close clients. I'm able to have my client delivery be really dialed in. I'm telling you, diet is really that foundation. We are what we eat. So making sure we put into ourselves is very good for us, very natural. Just think about a lot of the foods, like what were your grandparents eating? What were your great-grandparents eating? Heck, what were your ancestors eating, right? Stay away from stuff that's packaged as much as you possibly can. We've looked into it, my wife and I. Almost everything out there has seed oils in it to some degree. It has natural flavors, which is actually a way for them to just not disclose what the actual ingredients are because they're a recipe or a trade secret. So really looking into the food you eat, trying to find it naturally directly from the source, cutting out the middleman in between that are going to be coming in there and processing your food or spraying chemicals on it or injecting it is absolutely what you want to look for. But again, just try to make one change every single day and keep building that momentum towards a really fantastic diet. For me personally, what I also do in the morning is I'll fast. So I won't eat from about 5 to 9 a.m. in the morning. And if you think about as to why, think about our ancestors when they're hunting. They didn't have a belly full of food, stuff, ready to do the best work, right? They were hungry. They needed to eat. They needed to kill something, right? They needed to kill something and take the nutrients from that to where then they can be more satisfied, right? But they were dialed in and focused. So I fast because it allows me to stay dialed in and focused especially when I'm doing those high impact tasks in the morning, like we talked about before, when it comes to doing the outreach, creating the content, working on the larger projects. I almost always try to do those fasted because I'm super, super dialed in and able to really focus on actually executing and getting it done to the best of my ability. Okay, and then around 9, usually I'll break my fast with about 4 eggs. Recently, I've been doing about 3 eggs with some sausage or some bacon, and then maybe like a little bit of a natural like almond flour tortilla. And then when it comes to coffee, so I know that you can actually, I believe, break your fast if you eat more than like 15 calories. So sometimes I'll have a splash of milk most mornings. I've noticed it doesn't really pull me out of that fasted state. But if you are someone who can drink black, which I definitely can, I just need to stop being a little wuss around it. But if you can, I would definitely recommend just drinking black after those first 90 minutes you've been awake, right? So you're not breaking your fast, you're still staying focused, and then you can break your fast around like 9 a.m. in the morning or about 4 hours after you wake up and get that really high quality work done. And I'm pretty much eating the same thing every day, right? I listed out breakfast. For lunch, I'm eating usually some raw milk with some frozen berries or like some natural honey. Or, I'll actually eat some raw kefir, which is kefir, I believe. It's like a variation of milk. I forget exactly how it's described. It's kind of like a yogurt with some pears with also some natural honey. And then for dinner, that's where I'll usually eat my biggest meal, some form of beef, the natural grass-fed and finished, some sausage. We'll usually have maybe some rice, a couple other veggies. And for dinner, if I'm still like after dinner, if I'm still hungry, usually I'll be full by then. I'll eat like some yogurt with some peanut butter or some granola. So I eat the same thing every day. Similar to doing the same thing every day in habits, I eat the same thing every day. I eat the same thing every day. And it is so good. My body loves actually being dialed, eating the same natural foods every single day. My body is able to actually come and digest it a lot easier. I'm not spiking it with some weird sugar here, alcohol here. I'm not spiking it with a bunch of fatty, really greasy food with a bunch of seed oils. My body is able to very effectively actually process that food, which then helps me have better physical health, better mental health. So try to also stick with the same things you're eating every single day. For me, at least, like it has not gotten boring, right? If it does, you can put on some new seasonings, some new ways to cook it and prepare it, but really try to keep eating the same things every single day if you can, and trying to make that one healthier choice every day as well. So all of these changes, it sounds like a lot to change at once, and it was. But I really did my best to stay focused on creating the right habits, having the right mindset, or maintaining the right diet. And after around 21 days of doing it, where it did feel a little challenging, right, it started to become natural. First it was a decision, then it was discipline, and then it became habit, right? And the rewards I have been reaping from this, guys, have been insane. I've gotten my first 10K month on this regimen. I have better mood and mental health. I have a dialed physical condition. Like I really have not been doing much to maintain this. And by doing all these practices, my physique has been getting more and more insane. I have unstoppable drive and willpower. And honestly, this is the most fun that I've been having in years. Even when I was sitting down playing games with friends, even when I was going out and partying, that is nothing compared to the amount of fun that I'm having now, working on my business, seeing meaningful impact and change that I'm making money. Making money is actually fun, right? Like when you can actually know that you can do a certain amount of task and dial in your day to achieve a certain result, you want to do more of it. It becomes really fun, really, really addicting as well. And I'd say in the most healthiest way that an addiction can be. Like I said, I've been doing this for probably around 4 to 6 months at this point. Where I'm at now is like, I haven't even been doing this for a full year yet, like really fully dialed in. I'm like barely scratching the surface. And there are new techniques, new habits, especially around health. I've been spending a lot more time out in the sun. I definitely want to keep y'all posted in future videos talking about that. More time in the sun, more time in nature, getting sunlight in my eyes, getting my feet grounded. Really, really good benefits from that as well. But like I said, I'm continuing to really dial in a lot of these strategies, cold plunging, eating better foods that I'm finding, right? And so it just keeps getting better and better and better. And like I said, we're only about 4 to 6 months in. Imagine how things are going to look in 1 year, 2 years of a fully dialed routine, right? I'm really, really excited to see not only where I am, but would love to hear where y'all are as well. And to come back to the subject of this video, like, do you want to be the person that's going to continue to work the 4 hours a day and just coast, if not decline in your business? That is what 99% of people are doing. That's what they think it takes to reach success. They're delusional. Like, do they have the life you want? Do they have the level of success you want? Do they have the physique that you want? No. Don't let other people's advice tell you to do less, work smarter, not harder, right? They don't have the life they want that you want. They are not you. So when you're getting started, especially, it takes having a dialed routine. It takes doing the work that needs to be done. And some days it might take 10, 12 hours. You can't just get by with working for expecting to make 10 times that of a full-time employee. But everything I've laid out for you today will actually help you make the work that you're doing very, very fun. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I put a lot of effort into just really piecing it together and really trying to reverse engineer what I've really done to help me make the actual progress that I have in my business. So really hope that you've enjoyed it. I'd love to hear what kind of routines or regimens that you're doing down in the comments below. Would also love to hear if you actually have any critiques for me. Like if I'm doing something wrong, you've been testing it yourself, you've noticed that, maybe you can drink coffee earlier. Maybe I should drink it later, right? Like any small tweaks like that, I'd love to chat about it. I love talking about this kind of stuff because not only does it help me become a better entrepreneur, helps me become a better husband, helps me have a better physique, it helps me live a better life. And I want the same for you. So I'd love to hear from you again in the comments down below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.